Coming up on today's episode, Vince McMahon might be withdrawing from WWE, a Raw star admits he's frustrated, Laurie takes us through the events of last night's NXT Go-Home show for NXT TakeOver Portland, and Luke recaps last night's AEW Dynamite featuring a title change.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk stacked news and stacked reviews. I am Chopper P. Quinnell. The XFL has just gone through its relaunch opening weekend. Let's go Wildcats, despite our loss to the Roughnecks. However, it may be having a much larger effect on WWE than anticipated and stated by Vince himself. According to a report from Fightful Select, Vince McMahon has been increasingly absent from WWE events ever since Thanksgiving last year. Vince is still hands-on with production, but he has been at a distance, and Vince's attendance isn't exactly what it once was. SmackDown has especially been feeling the brunt of this effect, with McMahon rarely, if ever, showing up, with Bruce Pritchard in control in gorilla position. And even on Raw, Vince is there approximately half of the time. But on top of all of this, McMahon is said to have been exceptionally private of late. Considering it's pretty well known that in the past, Vince would go through crazy travel arrangements in order to ensure he made every single episode, something must have changed as of late. And that something is most likely the XFL. Now, this is just speculation at this point, but the timelines do match up. Where this leaves WWE is anyone's guess, but if Vince is withdrawing from WWE, does this mean that Paul Heyman would take full control of Raw? Will Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin literally feud forever on SmackDown? We'll have to wait and see, but the fate of WWE is most certainly interesting right now, and it seems to be a little bit up in the air. Speaking of up in the air, everyone likes a bit of Cedric Alexander when he's up in the air. What a segue. This week on Raw, Andrade substitute Angel Garza defeated Cedric Alexander in relatively quick fashion, dispatching him with a wing clipper. It seems that this loss has somewhat upset Alexander, as he has tweeted out to say, "Frustrated is an understatement." Seems pretty conclusive to me. Alexander has never truly had a run on the main roster, after his run as Cruiserweight Champion on 205 Live. Despite showing promise during the Cruiserweight Classic with the entire crowd chanting for Cedric to be signed to WWE, he has never truly been given the chance to connect with the crowd. Aside from that one time where he wrestled as Gary the Goat Garbutt in one of the dumbest finishing angles of Raw in recent memory. Cedric seemed to be on the cusp of a push on Raw in the Heyman era, challenging AJ Styles for the US Championship at Clash of Champions in 2019. But since then, he has fallen off the face of the earth. According to WrestlingNews.co, Paul Heyman likes Alexander and wants to push him, but Vince McMahon doesn't see anything in him and has no plans for him. According to the same report, McMahon will listen to Heyman on some ideas, but other times he can be close-minded. Just shocking revelations here on the WrestleTalk news. Hopefully Cedric gets a bit more of a chance in the future, because he is truly an incredibly talented wrestler and such a genuinely likable babyface. Fingers crossed. And we're well on the voyage to WrestleMania, which also means we're on the voyage to the Hall of Fame as well. And according to the very reliable Twitter account WrestleVotes, we may have just seen the next two entrants for the 2020 class. WrestleVotes had a lot of fun teasing the entrants throughout the day yesterday before finally revealing that the two acts he has heard confirmed, among others in discussion, were the Bella Twins and Jushin Thunder Liger. The Bella Twins were destined to be in the Hall of Fame, being two of the most popular female wrestlers during the Divas era of WWE, going on to be the most prominent figures of spin-off show Total Divas, before creating their own spin-off of the spin-off, Total Bellas, and now they have a podcast which I'm sure is just riveting. They are treated as legends, so this Hall of Fame induction seemed pretty inevitable. Jushin Thunder Liger, however, is a little more surprising, given that he has spent the vast majority of his career over in Japan, appearing once in NXT at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, with occasional appearances in WCW in 1991 and 1992. He retired from wrestling earlier this year, having his final match at New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 14. So it's nice for WWE to honor his legacy to the wrestling industry, which is gigantic. Now, before we pass over to Laurie for the NXT recap, it's time for a thumbs up party. Drop a thumbs up on the video if you're watching and enjoying the video so far, as it super duper helps us out and it's the easiest way to support the channel. And also, I guess I dance too.
Pete, what are you doing?
Dancing.
Why are you dancing?
Well, because Ollie tells me to.
Oh, yeah. Well, and would you jump in front of a bus if Ollie told you to? Like, you can dance, sure, dance if you want to. If you really fancy a little boogie, have a little boogie. But, like, have some self-respect, man. Like, Jennifer Lopez in Hustle didn't just dance because some guy told her to. She danced because she wanted to. And she was fleecing all of those guys. And she was a strong, independent woman. You could be a strong, independent chopper.
Yeah, you're right. I will be a strong, independent chopper.
Yeah.
I'll do a thumbs up by myself, not because Ollie told me to, because I want to. Yes, let's do it. I'm going to do my own thumbs up party.
All right, I've got to do NXT. Just fuck off now. But don't do things that people tell you to.
Yes, sir.
Don't do things that people tell you to, all right?
But before we get into NXT, we just need to thank the $100 man CD Halver for their support on Patreon. So it's almost Portland time, which means pull-apart brawls, stare-downs, and dude, where's my car? Because it's time to recap the go-home show for NXT TakeOver Portland, and Roderick Strong may want to go home and check that his wife isn't experiencing the Velveteen Dream, because it seems like Dream is coming for Roddy's family. Which is a meaning you can take either way, which is also a meaning you can take either way, which is a meaning you can take either way, which is a meaning you can take either way, which is a meaning. And before I get too deep into the double entendre spiral, Roddy comes out to call out Dream and get an apology for him featuring pictures of his family on his tights last week. But his beef with Dream is put on hold as beefy boy Bronson Reed comes out looking for revenge for last week's cheap shot backstage. Strong manages to pick up the victory in this impromptu match with a jumping knee strike to a diving Reed, and then Velveteen Dream appears on screen saying that if anything were to happen to Roddy, he's sure someone would make all of Marina's dreams come true. This had hot heat. We then got the first episode of Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne's weird new sitcom, The Big Bro Theory, as they tried to work out how to get to take over Portland. It was very goofy. Then Candice LeRae gets herself rolled up by Dakota Kai in a short little sprint that was pretty damn good, and then she gets her bell rung by the ring bell post-match, only to be saved by Tegan Nox, who starts the big pull-apart brawl with Kai. Now I am finally getting into this feud. Shame it took this long. Johnny Gargano then took Cameron Grimes to task after that for crimes against Huhatani. It was a wonderful back and forth affair with both whipping finishing moves before Johnny locks in the Gargano escape to get the momentum heading into Portland. It's Always Dunny in Philadelphia continues as the Broserweights are then on a boat, but not to get to Portland, just so Riddle can have a think. Take a cab, guys. For God's sake. Then lawsuit waiting to happen. Robert Stone talks from his boardroom saying that the rematch between Caden Carter and Chelsea Green next week will be a relaunch of the brand. A bold and daring vision. Cool. I'm really excited. Can't wait. After that, Lio Rush and Angel Garza put on a cruiserweight clinic for a #1 contender spot, which Rush clinched last second, earning himself a shot at Jordan Devlin next week. That's a good pairing. This was smart booking. I liked it. The ace then arrives and says he doesn't really fancy Rush's chances because you don't bet against an ace. Then there was a really awesome promo package from Mark Henry hyping up Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic in the Battle of the Human Flying Kaijus. This was really genuinely brilliant and got me super stoked for the match. And like Mark Henry, I now can't wait to feast my eyes and bask in the glory all at the same time. Bask my feast in my glory eyes. Bianca Belair murdered Santana Garrett before cutting a promo saying that she is not invisible. Rhea should stop looking past her because she will be the one walking out champion on Sunday. This summons Rhea Ripley, who says she isn't looking past her, she's looking right at her, and on Sunday she's going right through her. She's going on a bear hunt. They come to blows and Belair stands tall after a KOD. This has been a much better way to handle the fact that we are building to multiple matches at multiple pay-per-views with the same wrestlers that NXT did before Worlds Collide. I really love this. Only Fools and Horses then comes to its thrilling climax as Dunn and Riddle catch a lift in the cargo hold of Triple H's private jet. I'm looking forward to Sunday when two roadies just chuck the frozen bodies of the Broserweights onto the entrance ramp and they slide down, coming to a stop at the entrance, ready for their match. Ciampa then cut a genuinely incredible promo about his match with Cole, who was quite busy putting on a thriller with Kushida, because the Japanese lightning bolt was working over Cole's arm for the whole thing, but ultimately fell to a last shot. It just makes me think, though, are we going to get a redo of the Cole in a cast thing from a little while ago? The final image of the episode was then Ciampa and Cole in the ring facing off as Cole sort of raised up Goldie to be like, my eyes are up here, daddy. It was a great episode, and it feels like the build for Portland is now finally in the bag. The only thing I wasn't really overly keen on was the Riddle and Dunn stuff, but it's at least something a little bit different to what everyone else is doing. Because what else were they going to do with them? Have them do a stare down, a pull apart brawl, the face off in the ring. It's all kind of
You know, it's very wrestling and it's very good, but it's a bit rote. Over to Luke for AEW.
Thanks for that developmental review there, Fakeador, but it's now time to get elite as I review the 12th of February 2020 edition of AEW Dynamite. In about 4 minutes, ring that bell. The show opened with Hangman Page and Kenny Omega defending their tag team championships against SCU in a really good TV match that wasn't quite on the same level as their match on a boat a few weeks ago. However, it was all about that story once again, with Kenny getting distracted by being friends with Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, and Hangman Page having to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Page never once got distracted from the job, and he and Omega hit the V-trigger buckshot combo combination for the win. The Dark Order cut a promo before the match and came down afterwards, which led to the majority of the AEW tag team division also coming down for a big old brawl, setting up the battle royal that's happening next week to crown new #1 contenders. Great stuff. Darby Allin entered another short film competition challenging Sammy Guevara to a match at Revolution, but Sammy couldn't answer as he was too busy being beaten by hometown hero Dustin Rhodes in a decent match. Someone winning in their hometown? AEW really is bizarro world. After the match, Dustin challenged Jake Hager to a match at Revolution, which was later confirmed. A main event worthy of ECW in 2009. Britt Baker cut a promo about teeth that didn't connect with the crowd, but eventually did when she made fun of them. This has been the story of Britt Baker's heel turn. The dentist stuff doesn't work, and the hometown stuff does. Speaking of the lady folk, and Riho Lesnar defended her AEW Women's Championship in a really good match with Nyla Rose. Riho has struggled as champion recently, not helped by the fact she missed TV loads, but she's so good that she can get a quiet crowd into her matches. Nyla eventually overcame Riho's speed and hit the Beast Bomb to become your new women's champion. I think this was the right move, and I just hope now that AEW have a plan to create storylines around the title and make it feel important. Chris Jericho cut a promo to announce AEW's newest signing, Scooby-Dooby-Doo! No, it's actually the totally awesome Jeff Cobb, who will face Moxley next week. Cobb is a fantastic get for All Elite Wrestling, and if the rumors of Brody Lee, Lance Archer, and Chase Owens coming in are true, the latter of which was at the show, then AEW is set to have a Beefy Hoss division of beefy boys doing beefy Hoss things, and I can't beefy Hoss wait. Brandy Rhodes confirmed in an interview earlier this week that the Nightmare Collective are no longer a thing, and was out on commentary to watch MJF and Jungle Boy have a shockingly fantastic match. MJF is a great heel promo and character, he's just not had the chance to show off how good of a wrestler he also is. But he did here, with him and Jungle Boy showing that these young pups could be the future main event scene of this company. MJF won with a double cross after Wardlow interference. This was excellent. Pac entered the same short film competition as Darby Allin, hyping up his Iron Man match with Kenny Omega in 2 weeks. But they claim this was filmed in Newcastle, but I didn't see a Greg's anywhere in sight, so I don't believe that's true. And the main event saw Jon Moxley beat Santana in another really good match that was built around the Eye for an Eye storyline from last week. Inner Circle attacked Moxley after the match, and Big Jeff Cobb laid out Snake Plissken with the Tour of the Islands. I cannot wait for that match next week. So that was this week's AEW Dynamite. In about 4 minutes, vote in the poll above my head to let me know what you thought of the show using these options on screen. This was a really great edition of Dynamite that effectively built Revolution later this month, next week's packed show, and the Iron Man match in 2 weeks' time. Plus, Scooby-Dooby-Doo! This week's AEW Dynamite is AEW-some. Watch our predictions for NXT TakeOver Portland in our fancy new prediction-style video, which is a lot of fun and features terrible dancing. And is Becky Lynch really unhappy with WWE's pay? Click the other video on screen to find out more on that. I've been Luke Owen, and that was wrestling.